Welcome to episode 67 of your CySA Plus Prepcast. In this session, we turn our attention to a specialized and essential domain within vulnerability assessment, web application scanning tools. As organizations increasingly rely on web applications to support business operations, communicate with customers, and manage data, attackers target these applications to exploit weaknesses and gain access to sensitive information. Web application vulnerabilities are often distinct from traditional network or operating system flaws and require dedicated tools to identify them effectively. Cybersecurity analysts must master the use of web application scanning tools to secure these assets and fulfill both operational and compliance responsibilities. Today's discussion will prepare you to understand, select, and apply these tools, reinforcing your readiness for the CySA Plus exam and your day-to-day responsibilities in the field. To begin, let us define what web application scanning involves. Web application scanning is the process of evaluating websites, APIs, and web services to identify vulnerabilities that could be exploited by attackers. These scans check for insecure code, misconfigured permissions, unpatched components, and improper input validation. Unlike infrastructure scans that focus on ports and services, web application scans inspect user-facing components, server-side scripts, and client-side behaviors. They also assess how input is handled and how applications respond to user requests. Web applications are among the most frequently targeted systems due to their accessibility and complexity. They often contain login forms, search fields, database queries, and session management features, all of which are susceptible to common vulnerabilities such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and broken authentication mechanisms. These weaknesses are frequently listed in the OWASP Top 10, a globally recognized catalog of the most critical web application security flaws. Analysts must use purpose-built tools to identify these issues, as traditional network scanners are not designed to test application layer logic. One of the most popular and powerful tools for web application security testing is Burp Suite. Burp Suite combines both automated and manual testing capabilities to provide comprehensive coverage. It includes features like spidering, which maps the structure of a website, and an intercepting proxy that allows analysts to examine and manipulate HTTP requests and responses. Its vulnerability scanner automatically checks for issues such as input validation flaws, session token weaknesses, and outdated components. Advanced users also utilize its extensibility and scripting tools to develop custom security tests. Burp Suite is especially useful for both exploratory testing and structured assessments. Analysts use it to analyze login flows, test authorization boundaries, and simulate attacks against application logic. The proxy feature allows for real-time inspection of data as it travels between the user and the application. This enables detailed analysis of how cookies, headers, and session tokens are handled. These insights are critical for identifying hidden flaws that might not be apparent through automated scans alone. Another valuable tool in this space is the OWASP Zed Attack Proxy, often referred to simply as ZAP. ZAP is an open-source alternative that provides robust scanning features in a user-friendly interface. It supports automated, passive, and active scanning modes and is frequently used by analysts who need an accessible yet powerful solution. ZAP is maintained by the OWASP Foundation and is widely recognized as a reliable tool for learning and applying web security testing methodologies aligned with OWASP's guidance. ZAP includes features such as spidering, request interception, fuzzing, and session handling analysis. Its passive scanning mode inspects traffic for issues without sending any malicious payloads, making it suitable for sensitive environments. Active scanning mode, on the other hand, injects crafted requests to test for actual vulnerabilities. ZAP also generates detailed reports and integrates with CI/CD pipelines, making it ideal for both manual testing and automated application security checks in DevSecOps workflows. For scanning web servers rather than entire applications, Nikto is a long-standing open-source tool that focuses on identifying vulnerabilities in web server configurations. Nikto scans for outdated software versions, dangerous files, improperly configured directories, and known vulnerabilities in common web platforms. It is often used during initial reconnaissance or baseline assessments and is particularly useful for confirming whether exposed web servers are hardened according to industry standards. Another specialized scanner is Arachni. This open-source platform supports automated scanning of web applications for vulnerabilities such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting, insecure session handling, and authentication flaws. Arachni is designed for high-performance scanning and can be deployed in distributed environments. It includes detailed reporting capabilities and supports plugins and APIs for integration into larger workflows. Arachni's automation features make it suitable for repeatable security testing and large-scale assessments. Web application scanners use a mix of passive and active techniques to identify flaws. Passive scanning analyzes application responses and metadata without sending specially crafted requests. This approach is non-intrusive and helps analysts understand the application's structure. Active scanning, in contrast, involves sending deliberate input to test how the application processes data. This may include injecting malicious strings into form fields, URLs, or headers to simulate real-world attack methods. Both techniques are valuable and are often used together for maximum coverage. Proper configuration of web scanning tools is essential to avoid false positives, missed findings, or unintended disruptions. Analysts must define scan scopes carefully, specifying which pages or services are in scope, and setting appropriate limits on scan duration and request rates. Misconfigured scanners can trigger security controls, flood servers with traffic, or inadvertently modify application states. Analysts work closely with development and operations teams to determine optimal scanning schedules and parameters, ensuring scans provide valuable insights without causing issues in production environments. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are more security courses on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Let us now examine how cybersecurity analysts implement web application scanning tools effectively and apply best practices to maintain security and operational integrity. A well-executed scan begins with detailed application mapping. Before launching any vulnerability tests, analysts must understand how the application is structured. This includes identifying all publicly accessible URLs, form fields, input parameters, and exposed APIs. Tools such as Burp Suite and Zap include spidering or crawling capabilities that automate this discovery process. Analysts use these functions to ensure comprehensive coverage and to avoid missing hidden or nested components within the application. Priority is often placed on scanning external-facing applications first. These systems, which are accessible from the internet, represent a higher level of risk because they can be targeted directly by external attackers. Analysts assess logging portals, customer-facing services, API endpoints, and administrative panels to identify vulnerabilities that can be exploited without insider access. Scanning these assets helps organizations reduce exposure and demonstrates due diligence in defending against common web application threats. Internal applications are also scanned, but the urgency is typically higher for internet-facing components. Credentialed web application scanning greatly enhances scan quality. By logging into the application with valid user credentials, analysts can scan behind the login screen and assess features that are only accessible to authenticated users. This allows them to test access control, session handling, and role-based authorization mechanisms. Analysts often create test user accounts with different privilege levels to ensure that security boundaries are enforced properly. Without credentialed access, significant parts of an application may go untested, potentially leaving vulnerabilities undiscovered. Advanced scanning tools offer targeted tests that go beyond basic vulnerability detection. Analysts may configure the scanner to perform custom injection tests, test for business logic flaws, or use fuzzing techniques to analyze how the application handles unexpected or malformed inputs. These deeper assessments are especially important for applications that use custom-built functionality or complex user workflows. While default scans may catch standard issues, tailored tests reveal context-specific weaknesses that an attacker could exploit under the right conditions. Continuous monitoring tools complement traditional scan-based approaches. Analysts implement application firewalls, real-time log analysis, and behavior monitoring to detect unusual patterns that may signal exploitation attempts. For example, repeated failed login attempts, unusual parameter strings in URLs, or high volumes of form submissions may indicate a brute force or injection attack. Monitoring tools provide visibility into application activity between scheduled scans, helping analysts identify and respond to threats as they unfold. To prioritize response, analysts often correlate web application scan results with threat intelligence. This includes aligning discovered vulnerabilities with known attack patterns, documented exploitation methods, and threat actor activity. If a scanner identifies a vulnerable JavaScript library that has recently been linked to active exploitation campaigns, that vulnerability may be escalated in priority. This threat-informed approach ensures that remediation resources are directed toward the most impactful risks, rather than being spread thin across low-impact issues. Documentation plays a vital role in ensuring the transparency and repeatability of web application scanning. Analysts record scanning tool settings, authentication methods, scope definitions, and the rationale for each configuration. They also document the remediation status of identified vulnerabilities, including who is responsible for fixing them and when remediation is expected. This documentation supports internal accountability, audit readiness, and long-term program improvement. It also allows future analysts to understand historical scan results and learn from past remediation efforts. Collaboration is essential for success in web application vulnerability management. Analysts work closely with developers to explain findings, prioritize fixes, and test changes after remediation. Coordination with DevOps and quality assurance teams ensures that security scans are integrated into development pipelines and release schedules. Business stakeholders are also kept informed when vulnerabilities could impact regulatory compliance, user trust, or organizational reputation. Clear communication accelerates resolution, builds trust, and fosters a culture of shared responsibility for security. Regular analyst training ensures continued effectiveness as web technologies evolve. Analysts study new attack techniques, explore updated scanning tool capabilities, and practice manual penetration testing methods. Familiarity with the OWASP Top 10 remains essential, but analysts must also learn about newer risks, such as API security issues, JavaScript-based threats, and cross-order vulnerabilities. Staying current ensures that scanning techniques and strategies remain relevant and that analysts can identify emerging threats before they become widespread problems. Finally, analysts continuously improve their scanning strategies based on real-world feedback. Lessons learned from past incidents, new threat research, and internal audit findings all contribute to strategy refinement. Analysts update scanning rules, revise scope definitions, tune detection thresholds, and introduce new tools as needed. These improvements help ensure that web application security programs remain dynamic, effective, and aligned with both technical changes and organizational objectives. To summarize Episode 67, Mastering Web Application Scanning Tools enables cybersecurity analysts to identify, prioritize, and remediate critical vulnerabilities in modern digital environments. Tools such as Burp Suite, OWASP, ZAP, Nikto, and Arachni provide both automated and manual testing capabilities that support in-depth assessments of web applications, APIs, and web servers. By implementing effective scanning strategies, coordinating with development teams, integrating threat intelligence, and maintaining strong documentation, analysts can protect organizational web assets from exploitation and support ongoing compliance efforts. These capabilities are directly aligned with the CySA Plus exam and essential for any analyst responsible for web application security. Stay tuned as we continue your detailed journey towards CySA Plus certification success. Thanks for listening. To learn more about cybersecurity, please visit baremetalcyber.com. There you will find best-selling books, videos, and even more free cybersecurity training courses. Please subscribe to the Prepcast and our various podcasts. And thanks for listening.